It's a BumbleKast Mini, sponsored by Twilord.
All right. We've got the Sonic Cinematic Universe on tap here, so let's jump right on into it. The Sonic franchise, amusingly, seems to be like it offers a lot of potential for a cinematic universe that goes far beyond this one hedgehog. The wide selection of other characters that are all generally fun takes on popular archetypes. They all have pretty cool powers, skills, and abilities that are pre-designed for enjoyable action set pieces. They're all adorable plushies that can easily sell merch, and with just enough of an edge to their designs that heavier stories, hopefully more akin to Puss in Boots: The Last Wish or Sonic Adventure 2 than Sonic Forces, wouldn't be too jarring. Is there any hard lock you think they can't overcome that would stop them from potentially making a very appealing cinematic universe that goes beyond just Sonic?
Twofold. In Sonic itself, as much as we enjoy all the characters and there are stories that can be told with each of them, not all of them are primary character material. And I feel like any kind of attempts to justify this is just going to piss off everybody who champions one character or another. But you can't have a cast of just principal characters, because there's no focus, there's no growth. You need to have your supporting cast. It is okay to be second banana. It isn't an insult to the character, nor should it be taken as one. So I don't know if...
I was going to say, it's okay. It's okay, Ian. You can say Big is too powerful to be in the movies. It's fine.
Yeah.
He is, to be fair. If they manage to squeeze him in there, great. But, you know... He's got a lot on his plate, you know, being the force of the universe and all, you know. He's a little busy, so.
I'm just saying, not everyone needs their own movie, necessarily. And two, outside of Sonic, I think the general populace is kind of burned out on cinematic universes. Marvel kind of killed it. They set the standard, and then they drove it into the ground.
I think DC helped.
They did, but in part because they bungled their delivery so poorly.
Botched it 3 times.
I think folks are a little more forgiving of the Godzilla King Kong one because it's you have a few years in between, you know, and the new Monarch TV series is coming kind of late in the game and doesn't feel like it'll necessarily be required viewing. It's more of fun. They're going back to John Goodman.
I'm being reminded of the Dark Universe. That went well.
Yes. Yes. And, you know, Star Wars was already kind of part of this in a different format. So
yeah,
we are getting a taste of it. What with Knuckles getting a limited series and, you know, Sonic 3 coming on the horizon, but I'm kind of hoping they don't go too nuts with it. You know, we don't need multiple spin-off franchises. We don't need multiple movies and TV shows. Just keep it simple and effective, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I agree. Like, how hard do we need to go into Sonic being a cinematic universe thing? We don't. We really don't. Please let the blue boy rest once in a while.
There's also the danger, too, that with a video game, you can have a static protagonist without too much issue.
Yeah.
Even with a game series like Sonic that has so much narrative to it, Sonic being, you know, static as a character is fine. It works with that format. If we're going to have ongoing stories with a very young Sonic, who, and the last 2 movies have made it clear that he is learning and growing, I don't know if that static template is going to work. And I don't know how far Universal can go with Sonic growing and changing.
You mean Paramount?
So that Paramount, yeah, you know, whatever.
Those guys.
It invites trouble, I think. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yes. What'll happen is we'll get all 3 movies, get the trilogy, and then in a few years, maybe 10, 20 years, there'll be a reboot. and we'll all be old and geriatric and be like, back in my day, Sonic was 3D. All right. As popular as Knuckles and Shadow can often be when they're at their best, there is one character who I can't help but thinking has a lot of potential to become very popular with general audiences. Rouge is probably the first truly badass female character the games gave a major role to, since Amy really only became more of an ass-kicking action character after SA2. With a combination of stylish moves, a fun blend of secret agent and jewel thief antics, and her habit of bouncing off Knuckles and Shadow, the most likely deuteragonist of a cinematic universe, in arguably even more fun ways than Sonic does. Assuming she got included in the movie universe, is it weird to suspect that Rouge's popularity would end up the most inflated of any potential inclusion? Is there any character who you think would beat her for that title if they got in? And if so, who and why?
I don't know. Rouge is kind of a hard character to gauge outside of the fandom.
I don't know if she would go all that well over.
I have concerns.
It depends.
But maybe I'm being biased and
on
jaded,
a lot of factors.
It would depend a lot on how she is rendered.
Design is a big aspect, yes.
Yeah, so there would be a tiresome amount of discourse one way or the other. And I feel like that would poison the well. But, I could be wrong. They could tackle it in a direction that I have not foreseen. Because that's what the movies have done, for the most part, is tackle Sonic in a fresh way that I wouldn't have thought of. And it's kind of fun that way. Mm-hmm. So I don't feel super confident predicting where anything could go, because they're probably going to go in directions that I don't foresee.
Yeah, I hesitate to say for sure what would even happen if she even appears. I mean, there's a lot of expectations that movie 3 is supposed to be an adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2. I got some bad news. It's probably not gonna be on anything but more the surface level. So, yeah, I don't know what they're going to include. So, we'll see. We'll find out. Well, it's true, there are deuteragonist characters who can probably offer some amazing stories given their deep lore. I can't help but imagine Sonic himself shouting at poor Jeff Fowler, "I'm not done with you yet, Sonic Wind," and negotiating a second trilogy. Even if the egg carrier retires after the third film or before it, there's a chance of the Knuckles show going strong and potentially even having Shadow nail either a TV show as well or even getting a movie and then a trilogy. These questions assume success because failure's outcome is easily predicted, which would make it very weird to not have Sonic doing things. How would you want to see them approach a second Sonic trilogy in that scenario, or do you think they should just let Knuckles and Shadow do their thing since they're less tied to Eggman?
Again, very hard to say. If you're going to try to build another Sonic trilogy and Jim is not part of the picture, you need a new villain. And I might argue just something wholesale original to the movies. Knuckles and Shadow, I don't know if they could break out on their own film-wise, but I could see them kind of enduring within a second trilogy. I don't know.
It's really, really tough to gauge this because we didn't even think that the Sonic movie was going to be a success.
No,
we expected the worst.
And we don't know the direction that the Knuckles show is going to go. We don't know the direction that Sonic 3 is going to go. We have 2 movies to gauge by, and that is not enough data points to plot any kind of graph.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't even know how they're going to approach the third part of this trilogy, actually. I mean, we know some elements of it, but we still are kind of in the dark. And that's fine. We don't need to know everything, but it is just like, well, how do you approach a second trilogy? Well, they're not even done approaching this first one, so let's finish that one
where's
first.
Where's the third one going to end? Yeah, where's that one going to end off? What is the status quo to be built from?
You're right. Yeah, exactly. Certain villains like Eggman, Witchcard, Black Doom, and maybe even Eggman Nega with Blaze, but rivals made things weird, have obvious heroes to pit them against. You have previously suggested that a modern version of Lyric would be perfect for Knuckles in that kind of role. Honestly, I agree completely on that being a great idea, and had actually thought about it myself in the past, so I was overjoyed to hear you're on the same page. And unlike the games, the movies seem much more likely to need those kinds of solutions if they get to that scale. Given the imbalance of heroes to villains, it does make me wonder, if you had to come up with more pairings like that for other characters, who springs to mind? For some examples, maybe Rouge and Team Chaotix get TV show spin-offs, the back of the Knuckles' successful Knuckles show, and later down the line, Amy Silver, the Babylon Rogues, Mighty and Ray get movies or TV shows. That's
not happening.
Shooting for the moon.
that is not remotely.
I'm sorry. I adore all of those characters, and they are never getting their own solo movies or TV shows. Some of them, maybe, but I'm sorry, but.
And there's also, budgetary concerns because, animating high fidelity CGI is, costly, especially if you want it to look good. Mm-hmm. So the more crazy critters you add, and if you're still factoring in the live action to it, it makes things more complicated. So I would not expect the Sonic Cinematic Universe to expand into the extended cast outside of like cameos and a crowd scene. I could be wrong though, I don't know, but I don't foresee anything really necessitating new central antagonists in that way. It's not like the comics where you can, go through 12 stories a month, 12 stories a year or more, where the faster pace of addressing the story necessitates more variety. These movies are happening 3-5 years in between, maybe longer, considering how the strikes may go. So, we don't even know what the status of Jim Botnick is going to be by the end of the third one. Perhaps they'll do something clever and have some chaos controlled timey-wimey wibbly wobbly turn him into another actor, and it's still Eggman, but it's a cheaper actor that we can get back for another 6 movies. I don't know. So, and if they go wholly original, then, the whole Game Mythos playbook is out the window, because now they can do whatever they want. They already are playing fast and loose. We saw multiple echidnas. The Chaos Emeralds were contained within the Master Emerald, for pity's sake. It's very different. Mm-hmm, so at this juncture, if the extended cast is featured beyond a cameo, I think that's a win. Trying to even think about, who would be the main antagonist in a Tales spinoff is not even worth considering. I don't see that happening.
Witchcard, of course. I mean, we're going to be honest. Who else are they going to bring in?
If we're going to mine game stuff, the Battle Cuckoos, but...
Yeah, I guess so. Either way.
Again, that is... When it's a deep pull for the source material...
That is a very deep
Going
cut.
into the spin-off movie, I don't see it happening.
That is the deepest of deep cuts. I don't know if you could go any deeper. Well, maybe a little, but not by much. We really well and truly do. We love all of these characters, but they're not all going to be a hit. They're just not enough to carry their own. The weirdest thing about a potential Sonimatic universe being super successful is that they could potentially have it outlive Sonic's inclusion. This mind-boggling outcome is fun to think about. If you had to be the one to write Sonic running off into the sunset for the Sonimatic universe in around 2035, how would you do it while keeping the universe going?
I don't know if you can.
What? I know.
It's not like the MCU where you have an extended cast of individuals that share that universe.
This franchise, the franchise hinges around one character.
Yeah, Sonic is the linchpin. It's like saying doing a Ninja Turtles universe without the brothers.
Or doing a Super Mario Brothers
don't
universe without the brothers.
Yeah, I cannot see that working. I mean, even Star Wars, which has such a vast tapestry to pull from, keeps coming back to the bloody Skywalkers.
They cannot get away from it. No.
So, I mean, the franchise is named Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't think you can do Sonic without Sonic.
No.
Because then, like, I cannot see, 2035, Tails the Fox, a Sonic the Hedgehog movie. You can't sell that. It just won't fly. Pun partially intended. So, if anything, I would say, if you have to give Sonic an exit from his own narrative, tie a bow on the franchise and let it come to a conclusion so that when you get to the inevitable reboot, it can start fresh, nice and clean, and you have a sense of closure. But I cannot see Sonic as a franchise in any format, game, comics, cartoons, movies, not revolving around Sonic.
If you're going to kill Sonic, you're going to kill the whole franchise with him. Sorry to say. In terms of movies, at least. I mean, you could keep the games going forever, but whatever your genius solution for how to approach it was, turns out the next movie that is going to launch hopes to start a Babylon Rogues trilogy. How do you picture the framework of such a trilogy working out?
I feel like I'm such a party pooper here.
I know.
That will never happen.
No. I'm sorry, Babylon Rogues fans. I'm sorry. They were in two games and some spin-offs and the comics, and yeah, they're great. They're not gonna be a movie.
At best, I could see them being the framework of another movie.
Yeah.
Sonic returns to the weird multiverse that they've established and comes to a world where the rogues are the reigning champs, dirty as they may be. And through necessity of the plot, has to have a few action racing set pieces. I mean, go full speed racer with it. That could be cool. That could be fun. I don't see it going any further than that.
I'm sorry to poop on your party, Twilord. I guess we could pretend and say that there's going to be a Babylon Rogues movie trilogy, but I have no idea how to approach that. They didn't even get a trilogy's worth of games.
There were 3 Riders games, technically.
What was the third one?
Free Riders on the Kinect.
What did you say?
I spent money on that, Kyle. I have to acknowledge it.
So
I ruined my knees on that game.
Right.
I must acknowledge it.
Right, so there were only 2 games. Got it. Yeah, see? I'm not wrong. In the MCU, we saw Loki become a major fan favorite character. So let's say that a villain with a familial connection in this cinematic universe also becomes a major breakout hit character in pop culture. Black Doom. You yourself have accidentally created new Zavok fans, so hopefully it shouldn't be too hard for you to envision this scenario. Somehow the cinematic universe's take on the character brings out the limitless comedic, dramatic, and philosophical potential of our beloved Lord and Master. What kind of takes on Black Doom do you imagine achieving that? And how would you write his own video-on-demand show to reward his new hungry, always so hungry, feed us, Dark Lord, fan base?
We're talking about a character who is so fundamentally different. It's not Black Doom anymore. Like, Loki had pathos. He was a sniveling little weasel, but we understood where some of it was coming from. And to some degree, we could root for him. And Tom Hiddleston brought all of that charisma and energy to it. If it was somebody else, I don't know if Loki would be as well received as he is. Black Doom has none of that. He has none of the wit, none of the charm, none of the pathos. He's a fine end boss, something to be knocked off a pedestal and stomped repeatedly. There is no way you can reconfigure Black Doom into a charismatic anti-hero.
Yeah, but what
without fundamentally changing him entirely.
Yeah, but what if he were
That's
played
basically Eclipse.
But what if he were played by Kevin Michael Richardson?
Well, he'd be very nice to listen to.
I mean, Starline or Zavok or Surge, maybe. God, could you imagine if Zavok had like a massive breakdown because of his role in the movie? That would be wild. First, the fact that he's even in the movies would be the most amazing thing.
Oh yeah, that'll never happen.
Yeah, you say that. You say that.
I will it into being.
You say that.
That said,
you're going to be eating a hat pretty soon.
I may enjoy a full fedora meal, but I can kind of see Zavok, if done a certain way, getting the kind of Thanos popularity.
Yeah.
The elegant monster, maybe he does have a point with this murder them all policy. Maybe. But that only lasts for like a couple movies and then it becomes a lampoon. He serves his purpose and then you kill him off and you're done. But even Black Doom, he's not even like Thanos level of approachable. He's vaguely evangelical and he's just a monster, like a fun monster to be sure. I delight in him, but he is there to be menacing and then dead. That is the character's entire scope.
Yeah. So one idea that a lot of fans have considered is that Metal Sonic might be the successor to Eggman in the movies. So let's make 3 assumptions. Oh, we've made a lot more than that. Metal Sonic manages to work out as a trilogy villain for the second trilogy of Sonic movies. Black Doom manages to work out as the lead villain for a trilogy of Shadow movies, and they want to copy the same tactic that worked so well for Sonic with Shadow. They don't tell you ahead of time that the post-credit teaser of Shadow the Movie 3 shows the birth of Eclipse the Darkling. How do you imagine you would react to seeing that scene blind after being invited to the big ceremonial first viewing event? Might be confused by why you're getting invited to this big ceremonial event.
Plus, all those other criteria don't really factor in at all.
Well, no. Just in case, but Twyler's got to set the scene. This is Twilord's ultimate Sonic movie fan idea, I think. Which is a good thing you're not working on the movies, Ian.
Yes, sir. I think these would be safe. They're so far afield.
I know.
I mean, if you can manage to get 3 films out of Black Doom, I'd be amazed.
You can manage to get 3 films out of Shadow, I'd be surprised.
Maybe if he had a strong enough supporting cast.
He's going to need a real strong supporting cast. He's going to need some super carriers on his side.
Here's another parallel. Bringing it back to Star Wars, Black Doom is the Palpatine of things.
Yeah.
He is the big scary end boss. You don't see him a lot. You don't delve into him a lot. He is the orchestrator of the other bad things. So you could potentially do an arc of Shadow movies where Black Doom is the end goal and you have lesser villains in the way, whether they are agents of Black Doom or they are opposed to Black Doom, but in some way are also counter to Shadow and they have to duke it out or whatever. That I can see working in that kind of framework. But Eclipse being saved as for a end of trilogy stinger / second trilogy seed is, I feel like, a waste, because he is, and I'm biased definitely, but he is far more compelling as a character. He has so much more motivation. He has so much more character. He is so much more relatable, and he resonates with Shadow on so many different levels that he really could be the breakout star of the piece, whereas Black Doom is just the big bad.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm sitting there at, the tail end of Shadow 3 wondering why I wasn't able to negotiate for royalties on this damn thing. And then Eclipse trots out and goes, kept you waiting, huh? Just kind of like, yeah, all right. Beat that dead horse.
Yeah. Boy, it would be even wilder if he were voiced by David Hayter. It's like, oh no. Oh no. This has been a trip down a potentially extreme timeline for a future Sonomatic universe. But there are still far crazier possibilities for the Sonic-matic universe than Shadow getting a movie that succeeds enough for a sequel-fueled Hollywood to make it a trilogy, and Knuckles managing to pull off the TV show that he's already getting. Two outcomes which I leaned on hard. So, in a question for both of you, assuming almost everyone was getting that treatment and you were helping organize it, based on narrative construction and themes/tones, how would you decide which of the characters feel like they would work better for TV shows, which characters feel like they would be better off for movies, and what characters would be kept as cross-project supporting roles to keep these things feeling connected?
Oh, God. You could maybe get a Shadow movie going. I don't know about a whole trilogy, even though we just kind of covered a possibility there. It'd be a hard sell. You could maybe get a Shadow standalone spinoff. And depending on whatever Knuckles' show does, you could maybe do something with him. Again, I think he needs a good supporting cast to carry him.
I think you might be able to get a decent Chaotix limited series for streaming series.
For movies, I think it's just Sonic.
Yeah.
I think he has to carry the brand. He is the foundation on which everything else is based off of, and from there you get your springboards.
Mm-hmm.
There you get your limited Amy TV, your limited Chaotix TV, your brief Rouge TV. That I could see being where things split off and bud from. But movies, I honestly cannot see anyone but Sonic carrying it.
Yeah. We could just adapt Shadow the Hedgehog, the game, and every theater gets a different ending.
If they pulled a Clue with Shadow the Hedgehog, the movie, I would unironically go to each theater just to hit those endings.
I think it would be kind of amazing if they pulled that off. Well, even though we may never get a Motobug movie, even though we should. It is time for the coveted Digimon question. Who's coveting these Digimon questions?
Twilord.
Oh, right. We haven't seen Chow in the cinematic universe yet. Without Chow Gardens to spend an excessive amount of time in, do you think the movie cast, after learning how they work in the case of the aliens, spent an excessive amount of time playing around on Bandai's V-Pets, Tamagotchi, and Digimon?
I feel like I've missed the crux of the question.
I think he's maybe Are we
talking of Chow Gardens as a game mechanic or Chow Gardens as an existing thing in Sonic's universe?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Would they...
If Chow were represented in the cinematic universe as just a Tamagotchi-esque thing, I might riot.
Yeah, people would hate that.
I mean... Sure, I spent an inordinate amount of time on my VMU raising my little water baby, but no. I need to see my Chow bobble along in high fidelity on the big screen. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what this, what Twilord's trying to get at here, but,
Although now you bring to mind an entire concept where Tikal and Chaos and the Chow are all existent within their own little virtual space as a completely new take on it all, and that's just weird.
Yeah.
It's not off the table because, movie 2 kind of discarded the whole Pachakamaka Damaknak thing.
There might be a Chaos reference in the second movie, so maybe Chow will appear because of that.
I would have to watch it again.
Part of that. It's apparently super hidden. It's not in your face. You have to actually look at the design. Apparently it's a design in the wall on the temple. So hold on. Okay, I'm getting clarification here, possibly. Since Chow Gardens don't exist in the movie universe yet, I think he's asking if the characters would get addicted to real-life virtual pets instead.
In that case, I can't see a lot of them doing that. No, I don't think Sonic would have the patience for a virtual pet. I don't think Knuckles would understand a virtual pet.
Yes.
Tails might, though.
Maybe.
That'd be kind of funny. They're in the middle of a fight and Tails has to stop because he forgot to feed his little V-Chow.
All right. We got one last question.
That's right. One last question. It's for you, Kyle. Who do you want to see either Ian or the existing movie team have do a full standalone movie trilogy for?
I mean, Blaze? If we're gonna do something, if I gotta throw one out there, like, let's do Blaze. Screw it. let's just go whole hog or whole cat, as it were, whichever. Either that or just give me an Agent Stone trilogy. Whatever it takes. Agent Stone should be the new villain. What a hero.
Newest TV series, Agents of Stone.
It's just like 5 stones. It's 5 clones of him. That's all you really need. I will take it.
Thank you to Twilight for sponsoring this BumbleKast Mini. If you want one of your own, head over to patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, or become a YouTube member. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.